Don't.
There's a lot of stuff behind me.
Don't do that. All right. Hey, everyone. It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like. I'm putting it on myself. I'm exclusively on me for now, just to be that way. It was going to be a crazy night. Whether you work in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, Radio Public, Spotify. Get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons. And we love all our patrons, but the list has gotten to be a lot, which we love. So I'm going to mention them all on the audio, but for the video, I just want to mention the last few, just so you remember. Deuteronomy 31:8, Sasquatch Lover, Anjay Adaman, and our new patrons, Emily Renee and Scott Mom 5. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coin and other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content and invites to special events. We did some bonus content this week, by the way, which was kind of cool, I think. And invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Let me welcome my co-host, Jesse.
Good evening.
And let's jump right into show 120 because it's a big one. It's a really big show.
It's a really big shoe.
Big shoe.
We got a brand new cacher on tonight.
Right, show 120.
Yeah. It just started this week.
We're going to introduce you to the world.
For October 14th, as we welcome back to the show, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, for his...
How many times?
You want to guess?
Do you know?
I'd
do.
Say,
I'm going to say 5. 4?
This is your 6th appearance.
6. Is that? Am I in the lead? Am I number 1?
Jesse's been on a lot.
No, so Jesse doesn't count. Zach doesn't count.
I know.
Sydney
doesn't count. Shermanator 18. No,
I've got to be.
I think you are. Well, what about
Daryl's been on a few times.
Oh yeah,
Daryl would be on a bunch too.
Yeah, Daryl's my direct competition.
I'll get a list, kind of like the Tonight Show? Is that where they do that?
No, it's Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live where they do that. You're right.
Oh, you get the big jacket or something, and
yeah, I want to be the Steve Martin of Geocache Talk.
I love it.
Don't we all?
Okay.
Yeah, I know, because I'm a wild and crazy guy.
That's right. We got some wild and crazy guys tonight. So, all right, let's get into this because this is going to be fascinating, I think. Well, I know it will be. So when I was talking to Joshua and we're like, we need, let's get it, I know where you're going. Give me an idea for a name for the show. And it worked out, even though you'll have to explain why it didn't work out. But the show tonight is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like Steve Martin.
Steve Martin and John Candy.
John Candy.
It's like a theme.
Yeah. But it turned out it was Planes
and lanes, as somebody said in the chat.
Yep.
Planes, lanes, and coach buses.
That's right. We're going to show that here as well. So, all right, let's do a little news and let's get into this because it's amazing. I got to hear the stories because it's going to be crazy. All right. So GTS, we released clues 5-2 and 6-2, and just to throw a curveball into the whole thing, we released 6-2 first, and then 5-2, and it kind of threw a little bit threw a little bit of a wrench in the monkey works, but that's okay.
We never said we weren't going to be mean with the clues.
Monkey wrench. No, we never said that. So it worked out. They're really good clues. It's a great thing about having a team is, they came up with stuff I would never have thought of, which is perfect. And
they're getting harder.
They are getting harder. Next week, we're going to release 1-3 and 2-3. So
at least one of those is going to be evil.
Yeah. I don't know. I think mine's
I'm guessing I know which
time.
one.
Yeah, 1-3 is I think it's gonna be kind of evil. Because I don't know. It could be fun, but anyway. So hopefully, I know people are. I know the Facebook group is blown up on trying to figure these clues out. I know a lot of people are trying to prepare. The Texas Geocaching group, Electric Water Boys in the chat room, he could probably tell you. But they were doing some discussions about, what are the clues, and which direction might we go, and do you know anybody that lives in Wisconsin or that area, and blah blah blah. So it was kind of interesting to hear them talk about that. So
Gary, we have a couple names in here that seem newer. So if we had to give a 30-second recap on what we're talking about, the GTS stash,
sure,
what would you say?
Yeah, I know we're on the spot. We have hidden, and we can say it now. We've hidden 6 what we're calling stashes, because they're not traditional geocaches. They're not on geocaching.com. We've hid them, and we're giving out clues. And the person that finds one of them, of the 6, you don't have to find all 6. Just find one of them. Based on the clues we're giving, you get everything in the treasure chest, which has grown. I want to go through all of it, but I got a huge item here of all this good stuff. There's books,
cash containers, coins, prizes, all kinds of stuff.
$25. I've got tons of coins. There's a Cashly coin.
Nice.
I've got coins from John Paul Barr. I've got I got we got all sorts of. I got trackables. I got a DuckTales trackable. I got 3D printed caches from Owain Borman over in London, or over in England. I've got one of those Treasure X doodads. Joshua's done one of those where he opened up, and I watched your video on that.
That thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's back here.
Back there.
It's fun. It's fun.
My daughter had a lot of fun opening that thing. We didn't video it, but it was a lot of fun. Because she really didn't know, and she hadn't seen your video yet when she did it.
Oh, cool.
She had no hints ahead of time. She was having a blast with it.
I love that there was more to it than just like unearthing the toy. There was you had to do like the little key, and you had to figure out what you were looking for. It was pretty cool. I just told the geocaching.com people too that it was probably one of my favorite trackable promotions that they've done, because I told them to keep sending us toys.
Right. Keep it up.
That was the most fun item that's been part of any trackable promotion for sure.
Oh yeah. And we've got a couple more clues to give out, and then that's it. You just go find one of them out in the world there, and we're very excited to give away some great loot. So, Caching Connoisseur
still going on.
I know, still going on. I'm almost there. I saw somebody I accidentally got the Caching Connoisseur souvenir. It's like, yeah, I don't, they're trying. I mean, it's not
but it's by but I think it's decent though. They're trying a few different things. You know, it's not all the same. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
I love that there's something happening all the time. Like if there's an ongoing goal, even if the goal is not as challenging as other goals, I just like that there's something happening all the time. I think that's cool. It's something to keep your mind on geocaching and wanting to shoot for something.
Well, and they can't, I mean, in all reality, as much as I'd love them to go, okay, you've got to do one where you have to skydive to get it. Well, that's not realistic for most people, right?
Right.
So they've got to do something that's going to appeal to everybody. And, I think they still could do some levels or something, repeat it 2 or 3 times through or something. But I think they're getting a lot better with these promotional. I didn't think the one where you just did 100 was that great. Although that was kind of cool because some people haven't done that many caches in a short period of time. So that was kind of cool too. But this one I think is better the way they're doing it. It's is it 4 different ones?
Yeah. October, November, or September, October, November, December. Yeah.
So it's something a little different every time. And just like you said, it's something, right? It keeps it going. It's something new to do or whatever. So I need to do something because I'm in a slump. So I need to, make sure I can do something.
You should hop on a bus with 37 Germans.
That would be good.
What an idea.
What an idea.
I'm going to go outside. Hang on. I'll be right back. All right, a couple other quick news items, and then we're going to move on. But so we did plan. We've talked about we're in the planning stages, but we have it set for the 3rd annual Podcast of Hope is on December 2nd that evening. It's an 8-hour podcast. If you're not familiar with our other ones, but we will do 8 straight hours, nonstop. Well, we stop for 5 minutes every hour. But we go for 8 straight hours, and we raise. Last year we raised a little over $2,000. I'm thinking $3,000 this year. You guys up for that?
That sounds good. I think we can do it.
I like it.
Cool. Very fun. We have a lot of cool people on. Josh will be back, right? You can be back doing your blogger roundtables.
That'll be number 7. I'll keep my coat.
It will be. You will. And it's a lot of fun. We do some geocaching discussion, but we also talk about holiday stuff. So it's fun. Okay. Last item this weekend was Earth Cache Day. It's Earth Cache weekend. They still call it Earth Cache Day.
Mm-hmm. International Earth Cache Day 2018.
Yes. Which is a great idea. I like it. I failed miserably. We were in Arkansas, and I had one picked out, and it was just pouring down rain, and I was being pulled in different directions. My son got engaged, had an engagement party, and so we kind of didn't make it just didn't work. But that's okay.
I got mine, but I completely cheated, so
wow.
So
wow, you just said that for the world.
That's right. Well, we had this ethics discussion the other day, and I'm feeling kind of honest. So
yeah, that's good.
Hey, about my cheating.
I love how real you guys are. You're real.
Well, you tell me. You make the determination if I cheated or not. So I did get an Earth Cache, but it's really close by, and it's one I drive by all the time, and I've been waiting to do it. Mm-hmm. So I know the answers. And I was near it this weekend. But I also helped build it. So
okay.
I mean, when do I claim it? I don't know.
But did you go back to this location yesterday or today?
Recently. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I didn't say ask more questions. I said make a determination.
Joshua, how many do you think have found an Earth? And this is exactly what we're talking about. They found an Earth Cache recently, but they didn't log it because they knew the International Geocaching Earth Caching Day was coming up, and they didn't go there today, but they were there a week ago.
Yeah,
and so they logged it.
Everybody can play the game how they want to play it.
Maybe they were waiting on the person to send them back to say it was the correct answer.
There you go.
Perfect.
Somebody said, did I claim my own Earth Cache? No, I don't think you even can claim your own Earth Cache anymore. No. I think they've switched that where people can't claim their own caches, but I did build it for somebody else, so I'll admit that part. I already knew the answers to it.
Yeah.
And I drive near it just about every day. So
there you go.
But you made it. That's almost like you should get credit for being.
That's like beta testing a cache, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's still cheating, but I don't care. I'll live with it. I'll sleep okay tonight.
Well, if anybody cares, I found an Earth Cache yesterday.
Yay!
You did it actually right.
Way to go,
yes,
Joshua!
I did. It was a sweet waterfall at a Minnesota State Park. It was fantastic.
Wow, it wasn't frozen over, knowing y'all's weather right now?
Not yet, but it did snow today in Minnesota. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about
this trip. Yeah, let's talk about this trip. Show 120, the planes, trains, and automobiles. So last time you were on, you had just gotten back from Germany. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I have heard so many, and I know you have too, but I have heard so many mentions of how great those videos are.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and I shouldn't say thank you because I had plenty of content to share with the world. So I don't know if
you had to put them together.
Yeah, I had to put them together, but yes, I've been getting a lot of great feedback about that trip. Here's what's crazy. I was there for 10 days, And when I came on the show last time, I think I just got back from the trip, and I told you, gosh, I don't know how many videos it's going to be. I got a lot of content, and now that today was the last video I posted. So I can't think about this. I came back June 20th.
Right.
And what's today? October
14th.
And so I just posted my last German video today.
Wow.
With a grand total of 22 videos.
That's awesome.
Germany. 22. So it's incredible. People would comment on my videos because some people don't have a concept of like, they think they basically thought I'm living there. So they're like, all right, Josh, are you ever going to come back to the United States? Josh, has Germany ruined you for geocaching in the United States? Are you ever going to want to geocache United States? So, because the geocaches were so good.
Oh my gosh. Oh, they're incredible. And like I said, that I love all your videos. So I'm a fanboy, so I don't really count, but every time I watched a video, I actually texted you. I said, dude, how can you ever find a geocache in the U.S. ever again? I mean, because you watched it and you're like, I'm blown away. I can't. It's like I'm speechless. Yeah. How is it even possible that these geocaches are out there like that? I mean, the geocaches are like outrageous. Yeah. I mean, they're outrageously great. I mean, so great that it's like I don't even want to make I don't want to make a cache anymore.
Right. Well, you'll get a full understanding. What is it, in 3 weeks? 3 weeks? Daniel will be on the show. So Daniel Flieger, the owner of Geheimpunkt, who puts out many of those caches. He's coming on the show. There's a little promotion for you. If you're curious about what he's doing and how he's making geocaches so amazing, he will give you a full rundown of it.
Oh my God. Yes.
And just so you know, like, I barely even scratched the surface, guys. Like,
oh my gosh,
Daniel's already talking to me about possibly going back. So we'll see how that goes as far as time goes. But there's more geocaches to be found. So many more.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, Daniel be on in 3 weeks. So all right. But as this ties in because he contacted you, or y'all discussed the fact that a bunch of Germans, seriously, this is kind of crazy. These Germans were going to travel to the U.S. and he thought you might want to go along.
Yes. So to give you a little context, so Daniel has his geocaching company in Germany called Geheimpunkt, which means hidden spot. But as another part of what he does is he does geocaching tours all over the United States. He does geocaching tours all over the world. So he's done Brazil 8 cache trips. He's done, last year he did a U.S. trip that I just got back off of. Georgia, these little tiny islands in the middle of nowhere. Like, he does several, I don't know how many, but several trips where Germans mainly, because it's a company in Germany, will fly to these locations, and it's just for geocaching. So he contacted me, let's say a couple months ago, and he said, Josh, we're doing a geocaching bus tour all over the Pacific Northwest with the goals in mind is fill in the Jasmer, original stash, Ape Cache, HQ, Canada, 11 geocaching events in 11 days.
Oh my gosh.
So you can imagine, how diehard these people are from Germany that are willing to pay to be a part of this trip and knock out all those geocaching goals in a fairly short amount of time, considering all that we accomplished.
Wow. Incredible. So, so you had to work some magic, with work and lots of different things you did. You worked magic.
Yeah.
Tony Wonder. Arrested Development. Tony Wonder. Yeah. But you worked some magic and you were able to meet them out in the Pacific Northwest and start this incredible trip. So
yes.
What where did you end up meeting him in Seattle, or where did the trip kind of begin for you, and what was it like? I mean, was your contact spoke only German, or how did this whole thing sort of flew out to Seattle?
Yep. So so Daniel has a person in charge of the Cache Horizon tours. And that's the name of the company, Cache Horizon, which stands for basically Cacher Tours. And her name is Annetta. I met her when I was in Germany, and so she spoke English and German. However, many people on the trip, almost everybody spoke both English and German.
Oh, well, that helps.
So that was helpful. Although a lot of times when I was in the bus, I was a little bit lost in what was going on. So I had to ask people, and I felt like just a little bit of a nuisance. I'm like, okay, what's happening? Where are we going next? September 29th, I flew from Minneapolis, landed in Seattle, and I met the whole group, all 37 of them, in the airport in Seattle. And they had been traveling like all day, and they were, you can imagine, they were so exhausted. So and it was interesting because I was added to the trip like a little later, so they all signed up for the trip before they knew I was coming on, and I think some of them had seen my videos, but not everybody had seen my videos. And the people that maybe just caught a couple of my videos, I'm not sure. You could ask them, but I think some people were maybe excited that I was coming. Others were maybe just a little bit hesitant because there's this, there's one way that I'm on videos. Like I am on videos. I have 6 minutes of high energy, and I think maybe some of them were afraid. Like, is this guy going to be just totally out there
the whole time?
The whole time.
Hey,
yes. Exactly.
It's like, oh my gosh.
And sometimes with some folks in the German culture, they can be a little bit more quiet and reserved. So I'm sure some of them were maybe a little bit, I don't know if they're worried or nervous of like, what's this going to be with this crazy guy taking videos? So, and one of the goals, one of the reasons I went on the trip to do the videos is for Daniel to show the world what it's like to take one of these trips. So as a part of going along on the trip, I'm in the process of creating an 8 or 10 part series of the whole adventure.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So yes, are you raising the veil and letting people know that you're not completely high energy all the time?
Yeah, I'm like a real person, guys, and I actually sleep, and I'm not crazy all the time, and I'm not always doing this all the time. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not doing yes.
Don't believe him. We've cached with him. He's like that the whole time.
Okay,
he just walks around like that with full energy.
Yeah.
It is funny. It is funny to. I've had the privilege, and Jesse also. We've had the privilege of spending time with you, and you can get kind of quiet.
Oh yeah, you guys. I mean, tear back the curtain. I'm really an introvert. I am, and I know a lot of people can understand that. I have a job. My day job is like when I'm on.
Yeah,
and it's very much.
And you have to for your job.
It's very much me. But as far as recharging, like I need to be by myself, quiet for a while. I mean, you guys, Jesse, you didn't see me. I'm so sorry. But Gary, you saw me after Geo Woodstock. When we were at that pizza place, I was about to collapse. I was so tired. I was pumped because of the fact that I got to spend time with some folks like Chris, Chris of the Northwest, and Lamb Monkey and Sonny and Sandy, who I've spent some time with. But and Sonny was like you were, Ben. He was out of it. I mean, he was so beat. Oh yeah, he'd given all his energy, and he's with us. He doesn't have to be on. Right.
And so he got really quiet, which is fine because that was the point of our little dinner, was to kind of give everybody a chance to kind of get away and kind of we get to spend some little time together. But yeah. Right.
So do you want me to just go through the kind of trip and we can talk through it? And if you have questions,
let's go through. I'm going to show some and at various times. Let me show. Tell me when to show some of these pictures too. So the picture, a lot of those pictures are actually in the sort of in the ET Highway relative ET Highway area, which we'll talk about ET Highway in a little bit. But
Right.
so yeah, kind of go through where'd y'all go? What was y'all's first stop?
So get this, my German friends were so tired. They checked into the hotel, and I'm sure they were ready to go to sleep. But guess what they decide to do? They go across. They go across the street, and they have a geocaching event at Starbucks that night.
Oh my gosh!
That night.
Course.
So they land in Seattle, geocaching event. So we had a geocaching event there. We went to sleep, and then we got in the bus early morning, and we drove to Canada.
Nice.
Well, we didn't drive.
With a bunch of that could be interesting too, because they fly to the U.S. They're going to go across the border.
Yeah, that was interesting.
They got one American with them, and
that was interesting. So we're up at the border at Border Patrol, and they take us all through the security or whatever to get into Canada. And the Canadians, let me just say, the Canadians were so nice. They're like, okay, so you're American? Are you in charge of this group? And I'm like, no. I'm just like, why are you with all these Germans? I was like, I guess I'm just their special guest. And she laughed and she said, go across the border. Right. When I came back to the United States, it was a completely different story.
Oh yeah. I've heard
they were like, why are you an American with all these Germans? What is it? Like, they didn't believe me that I just wanted to hang out with them and go geocaching with them.
Yeah, it's a secret plot. That's
I know. Yeah,
big bus together.
I know, right? So that was interesting.
So they're checking. Yeah, you're checking your passport. Now the good thing is you just came from Germany and you probably have a German stamp in your passport. So they're like, okay, at least he has a connection to Germany.
That's when I made my evil plan.
Yes, you're like, these Germans are gonna go to Canada.
Collected your army while you're over there,
bringing them back to the U.S. Yeah. So
yes.
Did y'all tell them that you were going? Many people and like we did too. We were actually going, and we stayed for a little while when we were there. But did you tell them you were geocaching? It was a geocaching tour, or did they even ask?
Yes, I told them. I was very honest. I told them what it was. She had heard of the Canadian lady, the Border Patrol had heard of geocaching. So, and I also had my camera with me. So I was like, yeah, I'm documenting it for this group sort of thing. So yeah, she got it. But again, U.S. Patrol, I mean, come on. It's kind of crazy. You have an American passport and, you think that they would be more willing, but, they're high security. So anyway, went to Vancouver.
Cool.
And let me just say, people, Vancouver, Land Monkey's from Vancouver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Believe the hype. That place is awesome. It is amazing. Cool. Have you been there, Jesse?
Yes, I have. I've been caching up there.
Yeah. So can you believe it? I live 5 miles from the Canadian border, and I have never gotten a geocache in Canada till then. So I got my first geocache in Canada, which is cool.
Yay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Also, as we go along, Jesse, if you've got any questions, obviously interject from the chat room. Any questions as we go along that you feel, obviously, we want to ask.
Somebody asked if you went to the Land Shark store, but that's pretty far from where you were.
Yeah, I was nowhere near. We just basically had enough time to go downtown Vancouver, and there was a cruise ship in port, which was really cool. I think I probably found, I want to say 15, 16 geocaches.
Oh, wow.
In the 4 hours we were there. And again, the bus dropped us off, and we were just kind of walking all around this really just beautiful port city. I was just really impressed with Vancouver. And then we had a geocaching event.
Of course. You got to have an event. That's
Yes.
I had a question with when this German group, and I guess I'm not going to try to generalize everybody in Germany, but you had 37 examples. Do any of them carry stamps, or?
Oh yes.
How do they? Okay, so is it a mix? Some people will put a few initials, or they all carry. I mean, they can't all carry stamps. But.
Yeah. One of the really cool things about this tour is just the teamwork aspect of it. Like I said, everybody plays the game a little differently, but every geocache that was found on the whole trip was signed, German HQ bus tour or whatever.
Okay.
So
that's smart.
So what when we had sometimes we had at like 10 people at the cache. We just signed with that. But then there were other folks. They play the game how they want. They have to get their name on every single log that they find.
Some people want that, right?
Yeah. And another cool thing is like, we would show up in a city or an area with many caches like Vancouver, and we weren't going to stay together all 37, so we split up. And when you get back to the bus, we found a ton of virtuals, and there's always the answers and stuff like that, so we could share answers and compare notes, and then have one person send in the answers for the whole bus tour.
Yeah, so
that way, gosh, everything was just so. We were able to accomplish so much more just being in a huge group like that. So that was just really kind of like a cool thing as far as just the teamwork aspect of the adventure.
Right. So who hosted the event that you went to in Vancouver?
Good question. So every single event was hosted by somebody in our group.
Oh, cool.
Which was cool. So in advance, it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna be at this hotel in this city. Who wants to have that event? So they just kind of all signed up ahead of time, and so cool. They hosted. Yeah, and it was really cool. Some places we had just a couple of locals show up, and maybe the smaller towns. But we were in. Let's see, what was the biggest one? Oh, of course, at HQ. Well, we had a ton of lackeys show up at our event, but also we were in Salt Lake City, and we had a ton of people show up, locals, and that my German friends really loved meeting all the locals, just because it's such a unique thing where the locals would be waiting for us to show up, and all of a sudden this huge bus pulls up with there's like 5 people there, and all of a sudden 37 people show up, and it's like a fairly large event.
and everybody's walking in speaking German in the middle of Vancouver. I mean, that's normal.
Right.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh my! All right, so then you've somehow made it across the border, thankfully. Back.
Yes.
Now, did you keep the HQ stuff for the end, or did y'all immediately start the HQ tour after that?
We saved the HQ stuff for 10 days later,
okay.
Because GeoCoinFest was in town that weekend. HQ was already very busy, and so actually the Cache Horizon set it up so not only were we able to visit HQ, but we made it so we could actually tour the offices too. So which is not cool. Which is not something I asked HQ. I was like, is this something that you let people do very often? They're like, no, this is special because of Daniel.
That's awesome. Like you get to hang out with the president a little bit.
Yeah, I got to chat with him, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't jump ahead.
Yeah, so this is the end of the trip. So we literally drive up to Vancouver, spend the whole day in Vancouver, come back to Seattle, stay in the same hotel we were at, and then the next day, as a part of this tour, how cool, GeoCoinFest. So we had a mega in there too.
Nice. That's awesome.
So
these all these Germans show up at CoinFest.
Yeah. Oh, it was hilarious. And as the bus pulls up, Sasquatch is making his way, and all the Germans are so excited. And I'm just gonna say this: like they were joking themselves. The amount of pictures that my German friends took was almost comical. And one of the people that I sat next to on the bus, they were like, "You think the Japanese folks, the tourists, take a lot of pictures? We take a lot of pictures."
Wow!
So the amount of pictures, it was just unbelievable. Awesome. But we were greeted by Sasquatch in I'm going to murder the name Issaquah.
Issaquah.
Yes.
Issaquah.
And I mean, we could do a whole show about GeoCoinFest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But spent the whole day there. Got to meet a lot of folks that watch our videos, which is always just a treat for me. And let me just say, one highlight is the lab caches that were gadget caches were really just amazing, top notch.
I heard they were really good.
Yeah, it was really well done. A really well done event. I've been to several GeoCoinFests before. They're always in really cool locations. So it was a really good CoinFest. And
now you didn't have a booth like you sometimes do have. You were just free roaming.
Yeah, I was just free roaming. And luckily the location, it was a great location, but a lot of people were out geocaching, which is great. And the location was like it was like kind of the convention center. It was where they do their farmers market and stuff like that. So there weren't it didn't feel, I knew it was a big mega event, but it didn't feel like it because there were a lot of people out geocaching, which was great. Yeah, but saw our friends geocaching from the Northwest, Land Monkey and Chris of the Northwest. So
Cool
got
stuff.
to hang out with them, and saw several lackeys, of course, with it being Seattle. It was great.
Saw Joni, the Homa tour. Which is, by the way, they're going to host it next year.
Yeah,
which is crazy that Homa, that's a whole other show, but for which we already kind of had Homa on, but to have Homa be the Coin Fest now, like it's perfect. Susan and I can go to that. We can do the Homa tour and the Coin Fest. It's like a bonus now. So.
Yeah, what an awesome choice. And also just a shout out, so Kimakino and the kid. Spent the whole day with them, and we were looking for the Sasquatch lab caches with him, and that was just a really fun treat. And then Quads in the Mud? Do you know Brad Jordan? Do you know him?
Yes.
Do you know him? He used to do Ultimate Caching Quests back in the day. He gave me coordinates to go look for something. He goes, "I hid something for you," and he just gave me the coordinates.
That's cool.
He just gave me the coordinates on Facebook, and so at the end, you'll see it on video. But I'll show you. I found my treasure. I'll show you this.
Okay, show us the. Wow, Josh was going to get something for us. He'll be back here in a moment. Here he is.
There it is. Look at. It's a Coca-Cola bottle. It says "Share a Coke with the geocaching vlogger."
Oh wow!
Oh wow! It does. It looks perfectly real.
It is real. It's real.
How did he get that done?
I don't know. I apparently you can buy them somewhere. I don't know if it's
Seriously?
I don't know if it's in Atlanta, but I don't know. I just thought I wanted to give a little shout out to him because that was really cool.
It's not taped on there like
that's
it's
the real deal.
It's the real thing.
Oh. Anyway, we have to keep moving. I feel bad because
keep going.
We're on day 3 of 12 and
12,
it's 8:37.
All right. So y'all leave the Coin Fest and off you go in some direction.
South. So day 4 we begin our epic bus tour to hit.
Move your mic up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. There it is. Hi, we back? Okay.
You're back. So you head south.
Day 4, we head on the epic bus tour to hit Jasmer Oldies, the original stash. And guys, we go all the way down to the ET Highway.
Right. That's a long way.
I know. So the total miles, just to give you a perspective of how far we went, the total miles round trip was 3,000 miles.
Wow.
So to keep that in perspective, that takes you all the way from Seattle all the way to New York and like back a little bit.
Incredible.
That's how far we went.
Let's show a couple. I'm gonna let you keep going. I want you to comment on. Let me do a screen share, and I want you to talk about some of these pictures that you sent me. So let me share my screen.
I'm seeing some of just in the notes. I'm seeing some of the things that you did. And I've done some of these things on several different trips, not all in one trip. That's a huge trip that you did.
Yeah. So the amazing thing is the amount of things we did in one trip. So, so the first thing we did, we went down and we did the original stash, and we did, I think, GC12, we did GC16, and just so you know, we hit every Jasmer filler for the year 2000. So May.
Incredible.
All the way to December. So,
so there they are. There's the crew.
There's the group, and that is us. My goal was to get everybody to do the yes chant, and
they did.
This is my day. This is day 5 or 6, and I finally got everybody to do it. Yeah, a couple of people weren't ready in that moment, but yeah, and they were just a hoot. And let me just say, these people, they are diehards. I mean. We would be done. We would check into our hotel, and I'd be so tired. I'd be so done with caching, and they would be like, we got to go hit some. We got to hit the rest of this town. We got to get all of them." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." So yeah, you're on the ET Highway.
So you're on the ET Highway.
Okay, this picture. Okay, so this is. I want to get this right because people really want to know. This is. I got to look at it. This is off the ET Highway. The cache is called XKD 380. It is a December 2000 hide. It's GCF. What is F? F?
Oh gosh,
That's okay. GCF9.
F is in Frank.
Okay, yeah. F is in Frank 9. And if you look at that picture, I'm right on top of the cache. So it's I think this is a December 2000. But if you look at right in the distance, so you look at like a little bit above my head. Yeah, right there. Yeah. That's the ET Highway.
Oh my.
So we hiked out to that. So, and there's just, I mean, as you know, if you don't know what the ET Highway is, I think there's 2,000 caches on it now.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, there's even more in the area.
Yeah,
though.
I'm sure.
The whole area.
I'm sure.
And this is fascinating to me. This whole ET Highway we're going to talk about, and we got some video too to show you. And of course, you're going to show lots. You've got a lot of video that you're going to be able to show over the next month or two at least.
Oh yeah. Again, it'll probably be 8 to 10 episodes. I don't know how quickly they'll come out. This will probably be episode 4 or 5.
Right.
But I mean, so I'll give you a little. The German friends must have thought I was crazy because I find this cache and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm out in the desert. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of National Lampoon's Vacation when Chevy Chase is out in the desert.
Right.
And so at one point I took my shirt off and wore it on my head and pretended that I was looking for water or whatever. So
it is a great photo. That is so awesome.
But yeah, so this is. I don't know if we want to go there yet, but this is the 8 cache.
Nope. Okay, let's skip that.
Yeah. Okay.
Skip that one too.
Well, no. Why don't you show? Can you show the video of the bus?
Yeah, I'll show the bus. This is incredible.
So this is the bus on the ET Highway.
Oh my gosh, that is a big bus.
Oh, it went away.
Did it? You don't
Jesse started talking.
Oh, I thought I had it on. Hang on.
Yeah, it should show. Start that thing over. Yeah.
Hang on. Let me go back.
It should show without switching back and forth.
Yeah.
So friends, if you're listening to the audio, you're going to have to watch the YouTube video because you know the thing with ET Highway is when people do that, they usually do it with Jeeps or like a van with the door open or whatever. But we decided to do it with a full-size coach bus.
This is crazy. So yeah, you're going down. And I didn't know this, but so how much of the ET Highway is like this, where it's just dirt road?
I think a good chunk of it.
Good portion of it? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is all I saw of it.
Just desert road. That's not paved or anything.
No. There's nothing. And there is nobody else out here. There'd be cars there would be like multiple cars on this highway. It's beautiful landscape, but yeah, you've got this giant, it's not a small van. I mean, it's a big coach bus.
Yeah. Going
down this dirt road. And you told us that your driver was like the best.
This guy's name is Dave. He did the bus tour last year and so when they decided that they were going to do it again, they were like, we want Dave again. And Dave was like, I want to hang out with the crazy Germans again. That's awesome. And this guy's crazy because I wish you'll see video on my YouTube channel. But when we're up, I mean, this is a piece of cake. But we're in the mountains of Utah. We're in the mountains of just outside, on the edge of Nevada, and we're on these little. I mean, when you look for these Jasmer caches, they're so old because you think about it. When geocaching started, people were like, "Oh, this thing called geocaching. I know this remote little road up on top of a mountain that would be a perfect place for a treasure." I'm sure they never thought.
Nowhere. Right.
Yeah. I'm sure they never thought someday a coach bus will come up there with 40 people to go find the thing. And so at some points we'd be up these little roads, and literally the width of the road is maybe the size of a large bike trail. Right. And I'm like, Dave, you're crazy. But he got us there and it was amazing.
Oh wow. That is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
So how about this one?
Yeah, this one is.
Are we back in Seattle at this point?
No, this is a Jasmer filler, and I just want to make sure I get it right. Okay. This is Wawa Cache. So it's GCA8, It's in November 2000. It was an amazing, beautiful hike that took you up this mountain, probably about 2 miles. And there's on both sides of your mountains, and then you're walking through a pasture, and there's free range cattle out there, and then it takes you to a mine, an old mine, and and that's where the cache is hidden, inside of an old mine.
Wow.
And you can see, it's just so beautiful. You can see the cactuses growing on top of the mine right over my head.
Oh yeah.
It was just gorgeous. I mean, there's nothing else I can say, but you know that it's an old one because somebody thought, I know this amazing, beautiful place. And so not only is it filling Jasmer's, which is like, numbers and goals and stuff like that, but it's actually like quality geocaching experiences worth the hike. I mean, with the 11, 12 days I had, I probably could have found, think about the ET Highway alone. I could have found thousands of geocaches.
Oh, yeah.
I found probably about 100 on this trip, but they were all quality experiences.
Very cool.
Oh, man. So, because the thing about the ET Highway, and like you said, it's a very different experience, and you could have done a lot of different ones. I mean, were the Germans, were they kind of, is this like, oh yeah, this is what we kind of expected, or were they kind of like blown away by, like, they put geocaches out here in the middle of nowhere? Or,
I think they were blown away by the beauty of the landscape, because many of them have never experienced just even being in a desert.
That's true.
So there's a certain amount of beauty of the desolation out there. I think they had a really good idea what the ET Highway was like based on pictures and videos, which is essentially every 10th of a mile film canister under rocks. I mean, that's really all it is. So, and to be completely honest with you, like if you need to reach 10,000 caches, go out there, knock yourself out, make sure you're with some people that you like, and have some fun out there. But for me, just the fact that I was out there, I got to see what it was like. I'm like, you know what? This cool hike up to this little point to the old one was a really fun thing. And then I got about a dozen of them, and I'm like, oh, I found enough.
Now
you went to ET and you found some caches while you're there.
I did. Sure. I did the ET Highway.
I mean, I know there's a lot of planning that you would have to do. I mean, your bus driver had to plan somewhat. I mean, there's nothing out there. I mean, how many people like run out of gas and like, oh, well, we're screwed. We didn't think about this.
Yeah. Although that's the advantage of a coach bus. We're talking about a lot of gas in that thing.
Right. That's true.
A lot of gas. It would have taken a long time to run out. And basically, so what happened when we got to the ET Highway, without going on and on, is half the people wanted to do the ET Highway. Half the people wanted to get 40, 50 caches, in the 2 hours that we were out there.
Right.
And then the other half was like, I really want to get this old one up on the hill. And that's what I decided to do.
Okay.
There you go.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So, it's people, there were options.
Yeah. I mean, it fascinates me, the fact that you can drive along. I think it still fascinates Jesse. I think we're still, Jesse, I'm still in. I still want to do something like that.
I want to do it once. Right. I want to get a group of people that I want to hang out with for a week and do something extreme like that once and go and do it, and just to check it off the big geocacher list, right? Like headquarters and everything else. But it is a different type of caching. You got to be prepared for. You're just doing a relay race for 3 or 4 days straight.
Did y'all do the whole thing too, where you had an extra cache, and as you went along, you just swapped them?
We didn't really need to, again, because the goal wasn't to get 100. It wasn't to get 200.
Oh, okay.
It was just to experience what it was like. So again, the people that decided to actually do the highway, they just walked from cache to cache. And they, they weren't, again, it's with a group that big, it's a little bit of a team effort too. So
that's true. Okay. All right. So that experience was crazy and amazing. Was there any other Jasmers near? Did you in that area? Did you go to like Colorado for Jasmer?
No,
I know you went to Idaho, right?
Right. So the just to give you a picture. Oh, look I drew a picture right here.
Oh, cool. Right. Let me
really awful. Look at how bad that is. That's Minnesota. I can't even draw Minnesota.
Right.
Flew over there.
That's probably even to scale. That's pretty good.
Totally. See, that's Canada.
Got a key, right?
Washington, Oregon, all the way down to Nevada. ET Highway is like right here. Yep. And then over to Utah, up to I'm sorry, Idaho is way bigger.
Poor Idaho. It's got a mess.
Idaho, and then back up to Washington. So
I love it.
Anyway, Potter's Pond. All right. So anybody that knows anything about the Jasmer, there are 4 caches left that are hidden in the month of August of 2000. Mm-hmm. So there's one in Georgia, Lake Lanier. There's one in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. There's one in Sweden.
Right.
And there's one in Utah, which is Potter's Pond.
Mm-hmm.
Potter's Pond.
And so I did the Lake Lanier one. So this is not one I needed, but gosh, I'm so glad I went to Potter's Pond because it was this beautiful ride. And as we're going up the mountains, it's snowing and the leaves have not fallen off yet. So like you had orange and yellows with this white on top of it and the contrast. It was so beautiful up there. But you get up there, it's kind of like a camping area and there's a pond there and then that old cache is there. So I went to the old cache. I went up there fast because I wanted to do a cache actually on the pond, which was an island on the pond. So I decided I wanted the Germans to like me so much because they really wanted to get an island cache. So I stripped down to my underwear. And
here's the video, and we're gonna switch to the video right now.
I do have photos that will never see the light of day. Probably not. But stripped down to my underwear, and I swam. And you guys keep in mind, it was snowing up there.
Yeah.
Right? So
it can get cold up there.
It was. I've done polar plunges, like jumping in the ice, but it was very, very cold. Wow. But I swam to the island, and that was probably even more of a highlight for me is swimming Potter's Pond, and getting an island geocache.
What's funny is
pretty area too. It's a good cache in a really remote area, really pretty area.
Yeah, have you been?
Yeah, I've been.
Oh, okay, so you know. And that hike was not easy either.
No, and when we went, it was at a different time in the season. Where I don't know how close you were able to drive to that, but we had to hike a good distance to get to the hike.
Oh, really?
You know, they close part of the roads off during times of the year.
So you know that road. Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine that coach bus driving through. That was so crazy.
I was in my Jeep and I thought, interesting.
I know, right?
Like the bus.
Like seriously, a car would come the other way, and there was no way. They had to back up because we couldn't both fit on the road.
So there's a chat room question I got to ask for you.
Okay.
Owen from KC says, "Where did you put the pin?"
Where did I put the pin? What pin?
When you were swimming out to the island.
To sign it.
Oh, you'll see. I forgot the pen.
Of course.
And I had to swim back to get the pen.
And then swim back.
Yep.
Again.
I made a couple. I made a couple trips, and then I made another trip just for video, so I could hold my camera while I was swimming. So.
Wow. I'd like to make fun of you, but I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
So.
There you go. I know.
Incredible.
That's awesome. So what did the Germans think about that?
They were clapping. Like
nice.
I felt like that was the turning point where I had officially won them over, that I swam to the island for them in my underwear. I had no shame. So I think they thought I was pretty cool.
They're like, this guy. Cool. Look at this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but let me tell you, they're crazy. I mean, they describe themselves as the crazy Germans. So,
good. That's good.
That's
so cool. we were, and I should just say too, if some of them are listening, I have some new friends on this trip. You're bonding with these people. You're spending all day, almost every day, for 12 days with the same people that all have the same hobby. It's just really like I made some really good friends on this trip too. So that was really awesome.
Did you learn any German while you're on the trip?
I mean, I spent 10 days in Germany before, so I knew a little bit to just, to kind of like tell them what I want to eat and stuff and, all that. Yeah. But again, I didn't have to use it very much because a lot of people spoke English.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about this trip that you told me about, was that it was very different Move your microphone up. They're very different because you were kind of like you got to be along for the ride, which was a completely different.
Yes. This is my biggest commercial for this experience, is that there was no stress of planning anything, first of all. So, sometimes some people enjoy the planning of it, so that's great. But the fact that I could just show up, get on a bus, they'll take me to an old cache. I get out of the bus. I go on a beautiful hike. I get back on the bus, and then I take a nap for 4 hours. I mean, I don't have to worry about going to the next location. It was
wake you up. You get off the bus. You eat. I mean, that's the thing. Is did y'all? I mean, they didn't. I mean, they didn't plan for or did they stop somewhere and get a bunch of snacks and
see that's
how the Germans do this? I mean,
yes, I was really surprised by this, because I think if it was a bus full of Americans, like they would pull their bus into the McDonald's or restaurant and they would take a break and they'd sit down and eat. No way. The Germans, geocaching is the thing. So they stocked. One day, Aneta, our leader, said, we stopped at the Walmart and said, you need to get at least 2 days worth of food because we're not stopping. We're not stopping. Way. So they're just eating their salads and stuff that they right. We're not stopping to eat.
Oh my gosh.
We got. I mean, but there's no stress because you're just on the bus and you can eat your food and eat whatever you bought at the Walmart, and when you get there, so there was no need to stop. But it took me a little bit of getting used to, because again, if it was a bus full of Americans, I think they would stop to eat somewhere. But no, we had to keep moving. I mean, we had a lot to accomplish.
That's awesome.
That's Jesse's kind of
I love that.
Geocaching.
Yeah.
That's up your ballpark, Jesse, because your whole trip to Tennessee with your buddy. I mean, you never stopped in a hotel.
Yeah.
You just
the last trip, when we go on a trip, there's usually just two of us, so we don't have as big of a group and not a driver. But we stop for one meal a day, one sit-down meal a day, spend 30, 45 minutes on a nice meal. And the rest of it is all gas station food in a car, sleeping in the car, everything else. But that's kind of our sanity check. One meal a day we stop for.
Die hard, man.
So they weren't wanting to, I mean, did they sleep on the bus? I mean, is that, y'all didn't stay at a hotel down in Vegas somewhere? I mean,
well, yes, we did. So every night we had a hotel room. There wasn't sleeping on the bus, and we stayed at some really cool hotels. We were in Ely, Nevada, which was an old west. I mean, this out here, it's the Wild West. So it was just it was an old gambling hall with an old hotel that looked like something from the Wild West. So it was really cool because they picked some places that weren't just we had your typical Days Inn and stuff like that, but some of the stops were just really these really kitschy, cool little towns that we got to go to, and that just in itself was cool experience. So
that's awesome.
I think there needs to be more of these tours.
I agree.
Just locally, domestic.
I agree.
I mean, if somebody would start a company like that, I think it would be great.
Gary, don't give anybody any ideas.
Oh no, that's our idea.
Because it sounds like a good idea to me.
That's right. I'll steal that. It would copyright TM.
But seriously, and just again, props to Cache Horizon. Any American can sign up for any of these trips, and anywhere around the world. I know they're taking a Brazil ape cache tour coming up. So, and you would not feel like you would be very much welcomed. The guides would be able to speak English, and you get to meet a lot of really cool people too. So you could take any of these trips, and I'm sure we'll probably put the link in the show notes or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So after all of that, and you got a lot, I mean, and they were obviously pretty good about, you're like, I need to take another picture. I need some of this video, because they knew you were videoing.
Yeah.
But you're doing a combination, right? You're trying to vlog, but you're also trying to capture let me ask more of a question. You're getting your great vlogging footage that you normally get.
Yes.
But Daniel wants different footage, or how? Because you're trying to videographer the trip for Daniel.
Yes
well.
and no. Yeah, so no,
Okay.
no. So I just took video for my vlog. So there
Okay.
was not a separate thing, and I think that just in itself will speak to what I experienced on the trip itself. So, and Daniel trusts me. He trusts my style that whatever I put out will be a great representation of the trip. So yes, but I had to be pretty quick. Again, we were moving. I mean, you know, we had like an old cache to hike to and get back to, and then we had to get on that bus and go because because we had to get to the next one. So,
so you made your way to Idaho, right?
Yes.
At this point, okay.
And then we went back. Yep.
More Jasmers.
Yeah. So Idaho, we did Southern Idaho's first, which was another fantastic hike right outside of. I'm going to murder the name of the town, so I'm not going to say it, but you can look it up. But again, a really challenging, difficult hike up a mountain, and just a beautiful view. And then we got on the bus and we headed back to Washington and went straight, stayed in a hotel and went straight to the 8 cache. So we were now it's been a week. Right. Now it's been a week, and now why not hit the 8 cache tunnel? So
why not the tunnel of light? So all of a sudden, there's all these people, 37 Germans plus you, walking the tunnel of light out to the 8 cache. I mean, was there anybody else out there going, wait a minute, what are all these Germans doing here?
Not really, because
you got lucky. There's nobody there. Okay.
Well, no, there were a lot of people there.
Was there people there? Okay.
But the reason there were people there is because guess what? There was another geocaching event there. So
that's true. Yes.
So
another event.
So we came out there. There was an event, and so we had several people join us, including Cocamino and the Kid, and a couple other folks that had watched our videos. And so they joined the Germans through the tunnel, even though many of them had already done it before. They just thought it would be a cool experience to go through the tunnel of light with the with my German friends. So, and again, I top 5 of my favorite geocaching experiences. Now, this was the second time I've been to the tunnel, third time I visited the 8 cache site. And that I tell you, this is just me walking through that tunnel and hiking to that cache, to me, never gets old. It is such a unique, cool experience. There's a cache inside the tunnel.
Yeah. And people forget to mention that. Yeah. There's a cache actually you find inside, which is
and it's an ammo can. And it's just a really cool experience that I think every geocacher needs to experience at least once.
Incredible.
So the cool thing was, this is what's awesome with the bus tour. So usually when you hike through the tunnel, you go through the two miles to the tunnel, and then it's another, I think almost another mile to the 8 cache. And then you usually have to hike back. Right. Well, we didn't have to because our bus parked at the other location. So we got to hike down the hill on the other side, which is a shorter hike and a really beautiful hike through the forest. And so then we got picked up on the other side by Dave, our bus driver.
Right. Because normally you don't have a driver that can pick you up, in another location. So yeah, you made the trip just one direction. So that's
one way. And that hike back down the forest, there's waterfalls down there, and it's really cool. If you've gone to the tunnel of light, it would almost be neat to like hike up that side of it too, because it's pretty special. Yep.
I've heard people did that.
Yeah. Good. So that was that. So now that's Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we're round trip. We're now back in Seattle, and we're back. We go to HQ. Wow. Geocaching HQ. We got they split our group up, and because of Daniel's connections and because he brought almost 40 people to HQ, they split our group up, and half of us took turns touring the whole office, which was really, really cool. And they were really watching me, didn't want me to take any video, any pictures, because guys, that's where all the secrets are.
Right.
They got secrets in there, man.
Exactly. They don't want you videotaping any of this. No.
Giving away. Yeah.
Yeah. Although if you're curious, I do have a video where I toured the office like a few years ago that they let me actually film the office. So if you're curious, so that was that was a really cool treat. And then we got to complete. Not only did we visit HQ, but we did the headquarters geo tour.
Wow. Yeah, the tour is really cool. A lot of cool caches on that tour.
Yes. Yeah, high quality caches.
High quality.
And of course the troll.
Yeah. The troll to Fremont. And all the different.
Yeah.
So let me back up real quick. But so you for the original stash, can you pull a bus next to the original stash and actually get out? And is there, okay. I wasn't sure if that has a spot big enough.
Well,
pull off the road.
Yeah, kinda? there was a pull. We had to walk a little bit up the road. There was area that there was a pull off, and actually where the plaque is, there actually is a little kind of pull off area there.
I thought it was more for a car, but
yeah. Well, again, four-way,
not real large, but
it's a paved road, so four-way flashers are very powerful.
Right, right. That's true.
Big bus, they'll see it.
Big bus, you'll see. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So then, Geo Tour. I mean, you're probably worn out.
Yeah.
Worn thin at this point. Yeah. And they're still probably going strong. Like, hey, Josh, more caches. Let's go.
Well, I did the Geo Tour, and I had a group of about 4 people that were kind of like I call them my posse or whatever. Right. And they were pretty kind of worn out too. So we were just, after we did the Geo Tour, we went downtown. Of course, explored Pike's Place Market. Showed them the gum wall.
Gum wall. Did they find the gum wall cache?
Yeah. Well, that cache is archived. It's not there anymore.
Oh, it's not there anymore. I forgot about that.
Which is actually kind of a little bit of a relief, because it's the grossest cache to find. It's so gross.
Oh, come on. Come on. Be a man. Search the gum. I mean, Land Monkey hates it when back in the day, because he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe anybody's touching this. It's like, it's just used gum. Who cares? It's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah. And then
kind of nasty.
Then I can't think of a better way to end our adventure, but with my 4 friends that I spent probably the most time with, we were in Pike's Place Market, and what do we go to sit down and have to eat but bratwurst?
Oh, bratwurst in a fish market.
Yes.
Were they impressed?
Yeah, it was good. It was like it was supposed to be like authentic sort of bratwurst. It was a bratwurst place. It wasn't like a place where you have the bun and everything. It was like they gave you a platter with just the bratwurst. So
wow, they watched the fish getting thrown and all that.
Oh yeah, they saw all that. That was great. So that was fun. And and then the next day I flew home, and the total of 12 days total.
So we have the stats here.
Yes.
You did 70 traditionals on this trip. 18 virtuals.
Yeah.
Is incredible.
My German friends love their virtuals. Holy cow.
Wow. 18 of them. Now, and I'm sure a mix, obviously new and old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, this is just my stats, and my rule, is like, I have to see every cache, you know what I mean? But as a whole group, I mean, the group they went off into different directions. So other people had way more than I did.
Oh, yeah.
This is my stats.
So 3 multis, which is, I love, we just talked about multis the other day. I love multis. They're a lot of fun. 2 mysteries. Were they puzzle caches or?
One of them was on the HQ tour.
Okay.
And I think maybe another one was maybe one in Vancouver that we solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So puzzle caches wasn't really their cup of tea, or?
I think I just don't think. Yeah, I think if that was your thing, if they had, because a lot of people in Vancouver they had solved them already in advance.
Okay.
And because I didn't solve them in advance, I didn't claim them.
Right. Got a letterbox, which is always cool. Get a letterbox.
That was on HQ tour.
Okay. Got an earth cache.
Oh my gosh. The earth cache we found, was in Oregon, and it was in this huge gorge. It was amazing. It was a 300-foot gorge.
Oh, wow.
It was, I mean, I could go on again. We could talk forever, but that was amazing. Just this little town, and everything looks normal, and all of a sudden you drive up to this park, and there's a 300-foot gorge.
Wow.
It was like a little, it was like a little Grand Canyon. It was really cool.
Right. That's very cool. 10 or 11 events. Well, 10 events plus
10
mega.
events in the mega. Yeah.
1 mega. Yeah.
10 events. That is awesome.
It was so everywhere we went. Everywhere we went, it was so fun.
I know, that's incredible.
There's got to be a challenge out there for like a streak of events, which
There
you
has to
probably
be.
just qualified for.
Oh,
I
that's
probably
true.
did. Yeah.
You did one a day, right? For
Yep. Yeah, 11 days. Yeah.
well, even yeah. Finished the Geo Tour. Now, you'd done most of the Geo Tour before yourself, or
when I visited in 2013, I think I did. I was there during the block party, so it was so busy.
Oh, I bet.
You know, and so I couldn't get to all the caches. So I think I had done 4 of them, but I officially completed it. I got the coin.
All that. Okay.
It was great.
So they're as a group. I mean, they were like, we're finishing the Geo Tour. We're getting our coin. I mean, they were like probably pretty fired up about some of these things because Geo Tour complete. They can put it. They can mark down check mark. 5s. Go ahead.
Yeah, can I just say one more thing about the Geo Tour?
No,
the nice thing about HQ Geo Tour is a lot of Geo Tours are a lot of caches, and because of the whole, they've just put souvenirs for all the Geo Tours. You have to like have all the caches. Like, so I've done Homa a couple times, and I don't even have the Homa souvenirs because there's one cache is missing or whatever. Yeah. So the nice thing about the HQ Geo Tour, that's just kind of a good commercial for it, is it's only 9 caches.
Right.
And because it's right next to headquarters, that they're always going to be maintained.
Oh, absolutely.
So to get the souvenir, that's nice.
Yeah, that is weird. Susan and I have completed at least 3 Geo Tours. We have no souvenirs because for whatever reason, I think at least one of them, I thought we did every single one, but we must have missed one or something. But anyway, that's that's for a whole different show.
Yeah. Geocaching. Yeah. If you're listening to geocaching.com, I'd say you need to do something like 85% of it. Then you get it and unlocks it, just because you're always going to have caches. Something's wrong. Yeah.
So, 5 states, and we're not talking the northeastern states. We're talking about 5
large states.
Western states, because they're big out there.
Yes.
You got your country souvenir.
Yeah. One new country. Yeah.
And you get a province. Now, and this is good to know. You also get a souvenir for just that particular province.
So I got I got British Columbia, and then I got the Canada one.
Okay, cool. Part of the ET Highway, we talked about that. You got the Ape Cache you'd already done, but it's worth doing again. HQ 3 lab caches. That was some of the lab caches you did at the Coin Fest.
The mega,
I just didn't have time to do it all.
Right. But, and like you said, in your notes you put you could have done more because some of them did hardcore.
And this really doesn't reflect what you did because of all the Jasmers and I mean, the numbers don't do it justice from just what we've heard.
No, because a lot of those Jasmers were, those are half-day hikes. You're taking an hour and a half there, an hour and a half back to the, some days we only got 2 caches,
Oh, right. But they're incredible caches. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's funny because the irony is Jasmer is kind of about the numbers, but it takes a long time to get a number.
Right. Yeah.
It's not a quick number.
No, some of them are tough. Like you said, you're the one in Georgia, I think you can take a boat out to it, but that takes time and planning.
Yeah, the Lake Lanier one, actually, the one that's the old one is you don't need a boat for. Then there's another old one that you need a boat for. So
for a boat for, okay, all right,
gotcha. Yeah. Fun fact.
Fun fact. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up for the night because it's incredible. This whole story. So let's do it this way. I'm gonna ask you kind of how it did sort of come to a terminus, and then I'm going to have you kind of talk about I'm going to have you go last, but I want you to, how did this whole, after the whole thing, did they just sort of got on the bus, you waved goodbye, and that was it, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I met some really cool new people, which is just really neat. You spend that much time with people. There's one guy by the name of Dennis, and basically both him and his buddy were just telling me that they were like, they're like, I'm getting a little emotional. Like, I'm really going to miss you. And I'm like, Dennis, I'm going to miss you too. So it was kind of like, I was a little surprised on how like sad I was to see my friends go. But when you spend that much time with people and you're experiencing something together, that you naturally just kind of bond to these people.
Oh, sure.
So it was kind of we had one final dinner where everybody was together the night before we left and kind of celebrated and shared pictures and said our goodbyes. So it was really kind of a sweet and appropriate ending to our trip.
Wow. That was so
Very cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then you flew home. All right. So let's kind of let's go around the room and wrap up for tonight. And I'm going to have you go last, Joshua. I'm going to make some comments. And then Jesse, is there anything else from the chat room or?
The chat room asked, a lot of the questions, but you kind of hit those as we went through anyway. Normally we bring up a lot more, but you were hitting all the highlights with this one. Why I think this is so interesting is not just because we get to talk to you again, Joshua, which is always fun, and it's a cool trip, but it reminds we cache, all of us cache all the time, of course, but you cache locally a lot, and you get your local caches and you do your normal stuff, and you can get in a routine and you forget that these big trips, big exciting trips are out there, and that's what's so fun when you hear these stories of somebody that's put together a big trip, and there's all these amazing things. I mean, these are things you had access to already, but it would not have been the same if you didn't go with this big group and everything else. And that's what's so exciting about this. And I can't wait to see all the videos and stuff. And I know people will be tuning into those for the next 8 to 10 weeks or whatever, You're right. It just reminds, these things are so fun because it reminds us that we can still make it a big adventure, even if we've been in the game for years. And this is, you're talking about it like it's brand new, so.
Right.
Lots of fun hearing that, and I look forward to looking at all the videos too. So, very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, last thoughts, and I'm going to let you wrap us up, Joshua. But it's something that and we've all done this. We've all tried to explain to somebody who doesn't geocache, who doesn't experience a lot of what we've all experienced, and a lot of geocachers have also experienced what we have, which is. It's not about finding, a pill bottle on the side of the road. It's the experience of being together, doing these cool adventures. There's the hunt to find stuff, but there's this camaraderie that is hard to put your finger on this whole thing. I mean, geocaching is something that all three of us, and I'm sure plenty of people in the chat room, and also who have listened to and are listening to the show all over the world, who try to explain to somebody that it's more than just that. There is the adventure. The adventure is incredible, even if you just cache by yourself.
Right.
There's something to be said about the adventure of geocaching, but to couple that with having somebody with you is something that is rare. I mean, it's something we all have experienced, where we've experienced it with others. Where you've come down and we've done videos, and we had we've been able to find Jesse's come out, and we had days together caching, and there's something that it's really hard to put your finger on it, but it's an experience that is tremendous, and it's hard to let people know that you need to do it. You need to experience geocaching with other folks as well. I know people that cache by themselves, and while that's incredible, it's also incredible. It's a whole other part of the game is to do it with somebody else. So, all right, go ahead. Wrap us up.
Yeah. Just to echo what both of you have said, when people ask me a lot of times, like, what makes a good geocaching video? And I always say 3 things. I say, and I think it's the same thing that makes a great geocaching adventure: a really cool location, a really neat cache, and you're with really cool people. And if you can have all 3 of those, it makes it a really good video, and I think it makes a really good geocaching experience. And this trip certainly had all of those things to the next level for about 12 days. So So, and I know some people might be listening, going, Josh, all sounds great, but I don't think I could ever have the opportunity to do something like that. And I guess my word of encouragement to them would be, I would encourage you to just get out of your comfort zone a little bit, especially when it comes to geocaching. And to be completely honest with you, like, maybe I didn't say this. I know I didn't say this to start off with, but I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know these people. There's going to be a language barrier. Are they gonna accept me as the American and the crazy American that does? So I went into this with outside my comfort zone. But the one thing I know is I've often had the most rewarding experiences when I have gotten myself out of my comfort zone. And I think that's just a kind of a life lesson, but also for a geocaching lesson. So to anybody that's listening thinking, gosh, I could never do a 12-day trip, that might be true. You might not be able to, but there are things you can do to get a little bit out of your comfort zone to maybe give you a new or special experience when it comes to caching.
Absolutely. So. Yep. We appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing this, Josh. I mean, it's incredible, an incredible story, and just to hear this thing, it's just like we can't wait to see the videos because I know that they'll be a lot of fun. But so thanks, Joshua, for coming on.
I can't wait to share it with everybody. So I got a lot of work in front of me. That's for sure.
You do. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, so some of the upcoming shows I do want to mention. I forgot to mention them last week, so I got to get everybody updated. Neil Moore is going to be on next week, a vlogger. We're going to talk, and it's going to be a great show. And some guy who lives in his basement, Bob Billy, he's going to drag him up and let him.
Oh my gosh, you're going to let him on the show?
Well, that was part of the deal. Neil told me that this guy has to. This guy has to be on with him because he lives in his house, and
I can't believe he even has internet.
He'll feel awkward. I know. Well, I think he's going to let him share. I think Neil's going to get him up out of the basement, let him be on the show. So hopefully we can just have him wave and go away. But I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna have to do some of the interviewing of that with him. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. That's next week. 2 weeks. We're going to have. And this is crazy to think about, but there's a lot of planning going on with Geo Woodstock 2019, and so we're going to talk about how do you plan. And so they're halfway to that special number. They're at 1,500, but they don't want to talk. They want to talk about it, but they're at 1,500. So
that special.
You never know
word.
The G word. Yeah, we can't talk about that. But anyway, so it'll be so that'll be fun. Be on the show, and we'll kind of dive in and really talk about how do you even get involved, and how does somebody even plan? How do people plan for something of that magnitude? Because it's completely different. But I think there's some things that they're doing that will translate to people who do. When you do an event or you plan an event, hopefully everybody will plan to either be in an event if they've never been at one, or if they've never hosted an event. You need to really listen in a couple of weeks to some of the things we're going to talk about. And then in 3 weeks, Daniel Flieger.
Oh,
Hanover Geocaching. I mean, that's going to be crazy to have Daniel on and talk about a guy who, like you talked about one of your videos, Joshua, who he geocaches for a living. He has a staff that geocaches for a living, and the way that they have been embraced by not only Hanover, but I mean, they've done caches in other parts of Germany, right?
Yeah, they've created geocaches for geotours in other communities in Germany.
Okay, incredible.
I still am in shock. Like, if it wasn't Joshua's video with the one with the shirt where they're lifting up, I would probably think somebody was making it up.
Right.
Like, if I didn't know you personally and I saw that video on YouTube, I'd like, yeah, that's not true. That's not a real geocache.
So good.
I know.
So ridiculous.
Incredible. So anyway, so Daniel will be on. So, all right. Well, again, thanks. We hope you enjoy the show tonight, everyone. Email us your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Joshua, how do you want people to get a hold of you best?
So, of course, they can watch my YouTube channel, geocachingvlogger.com. Takes you right there to all my videos. Also, I've been putting more videos up on Facebook. So you're going to see the complete cache tour experience on Facebook. I know a lot of people, they're on Facebook a lot more than they're on YouTube. So I think facebook.com/geocachingvlogger, and you can find all our videos there too.
Okay, cool. In basically anything geocaching vlogger,
You'll
Instagram,
yeah,
Twitter is geocaching vlogs.
Yeah, because you can't go that long. Can't go all the way.
Yeah. So ours, of course, is at Geocache Talk, and Instagram. We're doing a lot of Instagram, Geocache Talk, and Jesse Memphis Mafia, all one word. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, as well as the Geocache Talk website, geocachetalk.com. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button below so you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis and get reminded of that. And tell your friends about this. Get them involved. We always have a great chat room. I had somebody comment the other day to me, sent me a note and said that they've been very excited to listen to the show, but now they're like a whole new world's open up because now they're in the chat room all the time. So they experience the joys of our chat room, which is always a fun bunch that get on there. So again, great. Again, thank you, and looking forward to the videos coming up, Joshua. So
awesome. Thanks so much for having me on the show for the sixth time.
With more coming up. Podcast of Hope, you get 7. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I'm gonna have to look. I don't know. I'll have to get my list together. So, all right.
Maybe I could be the man at the cache when Daniel's on. Maybe. Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's just flip on for that one. I think. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. And I don't know if you can do exactly what Joshua did, but he told you to go do something similar, because I think we all need to do something like that and go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace. Good night.